So, is a warning on social media actually necessary? What else can parents do to protect their kids? So, in a recent report, the US Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, recommended adding a warning label to social media, kind of similar to what we do with tobacco products. But is this really necessary, or is this going too far? Hi, I'm Michelle Young, licensed clinical social worker with Mental.Health.Merienda.
And I'm Dr. Adeline Leon, licensed clinical psychologist. Dr. Murthy's report mentions the dangers of social media related to teen socialization, body image, and exposure to harmful content and dangerous people. If you haven't already, make sure to tune into our video on this topic. We'll link it below.
So this is why the Surgeon General highlights the need for more comprehensive solutions beyond just letting parents control things, right? So he's calling for a warning label on social media platforms, stating that social media is associated with significant mental health harms for adolescents.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. And, even though we don't definitively know how effective it will be, he does reference evidence from tobacco studies showing that warning labels can increase awareness and change behavior. So as an example, in 1960, before warning labels were placed on cigarette packs, about 42% of adults smoked.
Wow.
And as of 2021, that number is down to less than 12%. So it's a huge drop.
Yeah. And I think those are effective, not just, the warning labels, but I think just there was a lot of push talking about how dangerous smoking is. So I think, if we kind of have a similar push for just warning how addictive social media is, how it impacts, the adolescent brain, maybe there could be a same results. Who knows?
Yeah, just changing how society views it. Because I think society views smoking in a very different way compared to how they did in 1960. So maybe I think it looks like his goal is to do the same with social media for kids.
So I think many parents feel really helpless when it comes to protecting their own children from the potential harms of social media. We didn't grow up with this. I didn't grow up with social media. So it's really hard for us as a whole to understand the difference between apps that are safe and harmless, and then those that are going to be harmful for our kids. And also, we don't want our kids to feel left out. At least I don't, right? We don't want our kids to feel left out. So if I'm the only one that's being really strict and saying, okay, no social media, no phone for my kids, but all their friends have social media and all their friends have access to phones and all these things, then that's not helpful either, right? So it can't just be on parents to make these decisions, because there's the larger community and other parents and other kids that our kids are exposed to.
Yeah, it has to be a balancing act, and it's just too much for one parent to have to do that. And in fact, there's a recent survey of Latino parents. 76% said that a warning from the Surgeon General would prompt them to limit or monitor their children's social media use. And so I think that provides good evidence of that parents, it's so hard to navigate all of this and to know what's okay, what isn't okay. I don't want to completely stop my kids from using a phone at all and have them miss out on social interactions and what's going on with their friends, but I also don't want them to be exposed to things that are dangerous. But if I have an authority figure who's telling me, yes, this is okay or this isn't okay, then that can really provide that guidance that makes it so much easier for parents.
Yeah, and it's something that parents, we can kind of like come to a consensus to, right? Like, okay, wow, the Surgeon General is saying that this particular application is really dangerous or is really addictive. And so we can make decisions based off that. And then we can also hope that other people are seeing that and making decisions off of it. So again, it's not just we feel like we're the only one, we're the one that's being the strictest, we're the one that's being the mean mom in our community, and then everyone else. Yeah. So I think it's a concerted effort. It's a community effort. It can't just be based on like one parent's control. So it sounds like what we're saying is that these harms aren't just, on parents, right? And it's not just because we're not good parents or it's a failure of willpower. This technology that's been created, it's really powerful technology. And there's very little or inadequate safety measures and guardrails for these types of technologies. So aside from, congressional response to this, Dr. Vivek Murthy is also calling for a response from the community, such as schools. One of the big things was schools embracing, phone-free learning environments, and, so that kids can actually like socialize and learn. That's something actually that's happening in Los Angeles. Our school district, LAUSD, will be banning phones in all of their campuses starting in 2025, I think based on this Surgeon General recommendation. So again, it's the community, it's as a society, how we view social media and how we want to protect our kids. It can't just fall on parents.
Yeah, it's changing it on the congressional level, and then on the community level, and then on the personal level, which we'll get into right now. And so we don't know whether these warning labels will completely solve the problem or if they'll even be implemented. But in the meantime, we do have 5 practical tips for parents to help you protect your kids from the dangers of social media.
Yeah. So the first one, and this one's really important and also probably really hard, but as parents, we have to lead by example. So if we expect our kids to really manage their social media time, then we also have to do that as well. So we need to model those healthy habits. We need to show them that we're also taking this seriously, that we're acknowledging that this is also addictive, even for adults, and that we are being mindful of our social media and our phone usage. So, I can't be scrolling on Instagram and then telling my kids, like, don't be on Instagram or get off your phones, because they're not going to learn that way, and they're going to see me as a hypocrite, obviously. So we got to lead by example.
Right. Yeah. And then the second one is to delay social media access for your kids until at least after middle school. And so I think Michelle, I'm not a parent, but Michelle, I think being a parent, you can really speak to that, especially being the parent of a tween.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that our kids' brains are still developing, even, well past, high school and even after college. But as long as we can try to delay introducing social media to our kids, and I think the recommendation here is that Dr. Vivek Murthy and actually other social psychologists have also recommended is at least after middle school, at the very least. If we can push it out to after high school, then that would be great. But I think realistically, it's probably even harder to do, but if we can at least delay it up until high school. So fine, when you start freshman year, then you have access to social media, you have access to a smartphone. That helps at least kind of push out the dangers a little bit further. We still have to monitor, we still have to put some guardrails in place, but as much as we can try to push out that introduction to social media, I think it's just going to do a benefit to our children. And again, just considering their developing brains, their susceptibility, other things that they're going through with puberty. I mean, a lot of kids go through puberty like in the, middle school age, and puberty is like just another added concern with your developing brain, the changing bodies. So
Yeah,
maybe let's introduce this other whole thing of social media after that's done. I think is kind of like the recommendation. And I agree with it.
A
Yeah.
lot of sense. Yeah, me too.
Another key one, which we've kind of touched upon, is to just set limits. So create times when there's zero phones. So like during mealtime, during dinner time, for example, everyone in the family putting away their phones. Again, we need to model that behavior too. During social gatherings, if we're at a family party, then let's put away our phones so that we can actually talk to our family and socialize and really take in that face-to-face interaction. That's the purpose. So setting limits to phones is another recommendation that we have.
Yeah. And then another one is to monitor activities. So stay aware of, so once, let's say your children are already in high school, you allow them to access social media. Once they're already on social media, make sure that you stay aware of their online activities and the content that they're exposed to. And you can use parental controls to do that.
Yeah, there's one app that I've used is called the Bark app. It'll actually tell you if there's any, like, they'll monitor like even text messages. And if there's anything like any bullying language or bad words or things like that, it will notify you. And I think just being very open with your kids about, like, I'm giving you a phone. It's a privilege. I'm giving you access to social media. That's also a privilege. So that also means that, like, that could be taken away. So just, paying, showing them that it's something that they have to really take seriously. And also that you as a parent, because you are their parent and you're trying to protect them, that if you do question anything, that you can take their phone and see what's going on. There shouldn't be anything being hidden from parents. But I think as long as you foster that open communication, open dialogue with your kids, you foster that kind of relationship where they can come to you, show you what they're seeing, you can ask questions, things like that should also help you be just more abreast of what they're exposed to, hopefully.
Those are really good tips. Yeah.
Yeah. And then lastly is educate our kids on the risks, and then also maintain that open communication. So again, all these tips are kind of related, but it's really important to teach our kids about the dangers. I know, I don't allow my 12-year-old to have social media, and it's not just a flat no. We've explained to her, the why behind, why at 12 years old, we're not going to do that right now. So telling them about those dangers, telling them, that there's just certain things that as a parent we can't control. I can't control what you might get exposed to, even though you might not intend to look up certain things. So that's kind of like one of the reasons I've given my children. Just having that open dialogue about social media and both the positive and the negative. So yes, there are really cute images and videos of animals and dogs and cats, and those are all fun. But then there's also some things that are scary, some things that they might get exposed to that will harm them in the long run. So just being like pretty, I think, open about that communication so that they also understand you're not just saying no because you're being mean and you're being overly strict, but there are actual legitimate reasons that you're concerned about their safety and their mental health that they can hopefully understand.
Yeah, it's a really important for parents to keep in mind.
Yeah. So I think the thing to remember is that the goal here is not to completely eliminate social media. We don't want to say that it's evil, it's bad, we don't do it. We want to foster a healthy relationship with these social media platforms, and then also protect our child's, mental health and their well-being. So if you want more information about the mental health risks of social media use, tune into our other videos in this series. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.